Okay, so we've done some work on the pilot. What I've done here, just using the normal parts from the kit, but also included, I've used a bit of milliput and some plasticard to add this face mask on here, and just a little bit of plastic rod for the air pipe, and then I've used a bit of plasticard to add in the detail of the seat belts as they attach to the back of the seat. So we're going to go ahead and paint this fella now. Bit of thinners, and then I'm just going to add, this is XF50, so filled blue, which I'm just going to, about 50-50 mix, so 50% thinners, 50% paint. I'm just going to come in here with the airbrush. So I've given him already a coat of black Stynylrez as a primer, let that dry for a while. Now I'm going to come in with this blue around, check my flow. Just around the trouser area, not worrying too much. Okay, what I tend to do when painting figures, I tend to go in with the basic colours first of all, and then I start to pick out the details as we go. So I'm going to come in here with a brush really, I'm going to mainly brush paint this, and I'm going to come in and paint the base colours of the whole model now. Okay, for the helmet I'm using FW190 extra dark brown. Okay, at this stage I'm not really that worried about getting the paintwork perfect. What I'm just trying to do is just get a good coverage, a good base coat. If I make many mistakes and go over, it doesn't really matter at this stage. Right, I'm going to use the same extra dark brown for the jacket. Right, for his gloves and for his boots, I'm going to use Hasegawa Deep Shade. I don't like to use pure black for the black parts. I can then add some shadow using pure black. I just find that if you use pure black, it just loses a bit of depth. For the buckles on the harness, I'm going to use bolt gunmetal from Citadel. I'm going to come in with a very light grey for his neck scarf. Okay, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to come in and work on the face. Now obviously what I've used is Flesh Base 1 from Life Colour, and I'm going to come in and use 3 others from their Flesh Coloured set. So that's Flesh Base 2, Flesh Light and Flesh Light 2. I find these paints really good for bringing out the face and adding the highlights and adding the shadows, and I'd highly recommend this paint set. So first of all, we're going to come in and we're going to just add some shadow in the recesses of the face, under the eyes, and so on. Now we're going to add some flesh shadow underneath the where the shadows of the face would accumulate under the. Now we're going to come in with the 2 highlights. So starting with Flesh Light number 1. And just putting some highlights on the face. And the final one, light number 2. So there, you probably can't see it very well, but there is the face. I'll take a photo and so you can see it a bit up close. What I'm going to do before that is I'm just going to add a little wash to bring out the detail. So for the wash, I'm going to use CPF from Citadel Washes. There we have the face. So what we've done, we did a layer of base and then we've put in the shadow and the highlights and then come in with a sepia wash. That's not completely finished. We'll come in with the final wash and add some darker lines in around the eyes, but we're going to leave that till the end. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to complete the helmet and the face mask and the goggles and get that looking, and this scarf area here. I'll get this finished. That's him finished for the base colours and a bit of highlighting. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to give him a gloss coat, come in with an oil wash, and then leave him overnight to dry. Now for the gloss coat, I'm going to use Johnson's Clear. This is the old formula. There is a new formula that doesn't look quite so clear, but I think it does the same job. But I've had this bottle for many years, and this is the stuff I use just to give it a quick clear coat. Okay, now the reason why I give them a clear coat is because what I want the oil to do, the oil wash to go into all the recesses very easily. But also I don't want it to spoil the paintwork, because if you use go on straight onto the matte paint, the oil can just seep into the areas around it. So this way it protects the matte surface underneath, and then once it's dry we'll come in with a matte varnish and make it duller again. So for this I'm going to use 502's Shadow Brown, just a little bit on the cardboard to help the oil to soak out. Now you can leave that for a little bit longer, let the oil soak out. Using some odourless turpentine, I'm just going to take a small amount of oil, add lots of turpentine till I get a nice thin oil wash. Okay, so we're going to leave him to dry overnight, and then we're going to come back tomorrow and give him a flat coat and then install him into the cockpit. Okay, so we're back. We've left him overnight to dry. We've given him a little bit of a clean off with a cotton bud just to take off some of the excess wash that was on the bits that you don't want. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come in and give him a flat coat. So for this I'm just going to use MIG matte varnish straight out of the bottle. And just give him a light dusting of flat. And that should now bring out all the detail. Just dull off that gloss coat. And so there you can see he's all ready to go in now. So I might come in, just add a little bit more detail on him, but pretty much happy with the way he is there, because the cockpit's going to be closed. You're not really going to see much of him anyway through the canopy, which is quite thick. I'm just going to give the cockpit a bit of a flat coat as well while I'm there. Inside of the cockpit here and here. Okay, so we're ready to bring it all together. And a little bit of gloss. I'm going to use some Future again. And what I'm going to do with the Future, I'm just going to come in on his goggles. So that just gives it a nice shine on his goggles. I'm just going to give the top of the gear, the control stick, a bit of Future so it stands out a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to come in and I'm going to put some Future on the dials of the cockpit. I'm just putting quite a big drop on there, so when it dries it looks like it's glass, and so stands out from the matte of the instrument panels. I'm just going to give his jacket, because it's a leather, I guess it's a leather jacket, I'm just going to give his leather jacket just a little sheen to it. So using some satin, just going to brush that on. So that's our pilot finished. We're going to install him into the cockpit, quite straightforward. I'm just going to touch up the seat itself, and then we're going to bring the fuselage halves to get together and see how that looks.